You're listening to the Coop Homeschool Podcast.
This is your podcast for community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling. I'm Mandy.
I'm Jessica.
And this is The Coop. Mom friends, you're one of mine for sure.
I know.
So we're going to discuss today 5 elements of mom friends and like what that is and how to develop them and grow them and all the fun that goes with it.
That's right.
So let's do our scoop on the coop.
All right. My scoop is down here in SoCal, we had quite the heat wave last week.
We did.
Yeah, we had 70, 85 degree weather.
Oh, I heard it was like 97. I was out of town.
No, down here, the high was maybe 85, maybe 87.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it didn't break 90s unless you were in your car and your car was parked in the sun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's where the real heat came. So we went to the beach, which was crazy because I had just thought about packing away all of my summer clothes.
Oh, funny.
But then I realized I live here.
Yeah, it's year-round, girl.
Right. So I got out the shorts and the flip-flops and the floppy hat and went to the beach with my kids both
Did you go
Friday
to the usual?
and Sunday.
The usual one?
No.
Oh.
No. We went to the one with the jetty.
Oh. Yeah. How fun.
No, we went once to the jetty and then we went down further south into Carlsbad, and so that was nice.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
So that was really fun and got to play with friends and some out-of-town family, and it was just kind of a neat experience.
I didn't know anything about that.
I know.
Word.
Well, that's because of your scoop.
Yeah, so my scoop was I just got back from Nashville. I went to Franklin and Nashville, and apparently Franklin is the Beverly Hills of Nashville.
That's amazing.
And everyone from California is moving there who wants to move there.
Because they can afford to.
Yeah, exactly. And so my sister moved there.
Right.
So I went to visit her and have some, and then my nephew was there as well.
Aww.
Half the family's still here finishing school and getting things wrapped up, but I had, I think 72 hours there.
That's really cool. It seemed like longer.
I know. Well, I left Thursday, but I didn't arrive till late Thursday, or like dinner time Thursday night, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then left first thing in the morning Sunday.
Oh,
so not even 72 hours.
Short.
Was it even 72 hours?
Maybe
I don't even know.
Sleeping, yeah.
Yeah, but it was really fun. Lots of girl time. Talk about mom friends, you know.
Yeah.
Now her kids are mostly grown. One's in college and one's a senior in high school. But it was, it's really fun to she was like, I never get to go shopping, you know, and just to go shopping on their cute little Franklin Street. They even have an Anthropology there, which is like one of my favorite stores. Right. So it was really fun, really good girl time.
That's awesome.
We went into Nashville, went to a couple of the bars, heard bands play.
So cool.
Yeah. And then I got some good time with my nephew too. So
very good.
So it was very fun. So I'm wearing my shirt, my Nashville Music City shirt that I got at one of their mini touristy stores.
Of course.
Yeah. So let's dive into mom friends.
All right.
And we are first going to talk about what do we mean by mom friends?
Yes. Because sometimes even saying that sounds ridiculous.
It does.
I think it was you who was like, I'm sorry I'm calling you my mom friend. You know, I have to like delineate which friends are which just seems silly at some point.
It does. Like, can't you just be my friend? Like, why do I have to classify you as a mom friend? Are you not actually just my friend?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's why I think is because I think that we have friends that we grew up with. You know, and many of those friendships extend into early adulthood. And then people start to get married, they start to have families, and that happens at very different times. And then some friends don't have kids at all.
Right.
And so I think that we come up with these different terms to kind of make sense of the different compartments of our life. Mm-hmm. You know, we have our longtime best friends, forever friends, and it's always wonderful when you enter the same phases of life at similar times, and that's magical. I think it's also pretty rare. You know, I have a couple good friends that I could say we've done that together and segued into motherhood together and still remained friends. And then there's the other side of that too, is not all mom friends are created equal.
Right.
What you start to learn when you get more into parenting is that there are friends who parent different than you, and sometimes that changes the relationship dynamic because it can be really important to have friends in deep relationships that parent more similarly to you.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone has differences, and that's going to be natural. But if you have really big differences in how you parent, that can be really stressful, especially when your kids are really young. And then you find you can't even find things to do together because
or like the kids don't get along because they behave differently in different situations, and one's behaving way differently than they would.
Right.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think that all moms can relate to is when you begin motherhood, wherever you are in your life, it feels really lonely.
Yeah.
Especially those beginning days with your first newborn baby. It's really lonely, and the idea of joining mom groups is horrible, you know. So having people is really important. But
well, I remember, I think it's called Meetup, and I was in Huntington Beach at the time. Sure. So I just moved from St. Louis, so I just lost my friend network there. I had moved back home to Huntington Beach area.
Right.
But everyone had moved on with their life when I was gone for 6 years or however long. So, you know, they already had their groups and their friends, and although they reached out to us, there's only so much I can do to break back in, right? So I start looking for meetups in Huntington Beach, and I go to a couple of the meetups, and those are the ones that nobody showed up at. I know. And then I'm just like, I'm actually at the playground talking. People are like, "Are you here for the moms meetup?" And they're like, "No."
Yeah.
And one of them was like, one time we were at Seal Beach, and she was like, "Oh, but we're friends. Why don't you hang out with us?" And so then I was stuck because
pity party.
Yeah, I'm like, they're here together.
Right.
And so that was just kind of funny. And then they're like, "Oh, let us get your phone number." And then they would message me, "Oh, do you want to come?" And I didn't really want to be friends with them. So then I would be like, "Oh, I'm busy." You know?
But that was really sweet. Like, now where we're at in life, can you imagine being that mom who said, "Oh, she needs someone."
Yeah, and how generous of heart they were.
Yes.
To then know that I needed that, and then to still keep reaching out to me, where eventually I was just like, never mind, you know? But yeah, so the meetups didn't work for me, but I know you had a good experience finding friends at MOPS, right?
Eventually, yes. So I was lucky enough to enter motherhood at the same time as my best friend since we were 9 years old. So I kind of always had her built in. And then I was trying to connect more at my church, which was its own kind of difficult scenario for me. But I had this one woman who kept really reaching out to me, and I knew we weren't really going to be best friends, but it was a calling. And I knew I needed to say yes. And so she invited me multiple times to join MOPS, which is Mothers of Preschoolers. And it was at a different local church than my home church at the time. But I just sucked it up and I went. But Sophia was already 3 or almost 3 at that point. But that was the first time she ever went into a classroom with the ability to say goodbye to me. She wouldn't even stay at my own church nursery.
Oh, yeah. No, ours, I had to sit in Sunday school with them. Yeah. And that's another reason why MOPS would have never worked for me, because I would have had to have my kids with me.
Right. And you can't.
And I was actually,
it's not allowed.
and also I'm like, I don't know who these people are. I'm just going to leave my kids with people I don't even know.
I knew who those women were, and I knew how the group and the organization vetted the women. There was an application, it was a whole thing.
Right.
And so I felt very comfortable with that. But several women from my church also went to that same MOPS group. So it was a really wonderful opportunity to connect with them outside of formal church.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not really a great time to connect with women and motherhood and our spirituality. That really has to be outside of the 2 hours we're at church on campus, So it was a really great opportunity, and it served that time in my life.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the whole idea, is that we go through seasons, and friendships come and go in seasons as well, based on what we're going through.
Right.
So it really filled a need for that moment in time, but I am not super close with any of those moms anymore, but they're still really wonderful people, and we love to see each other whenever that occurs naturally. But I didn't really find my group until I found our group.
Right. And here's the thing is, so we're going to segue now from mom friends to homeschool mom friends.
Yes.
And I think it's needed, even if you don't connect on every level with a homeschool mom,
Right.
but because you don't want to be an island, right, when you're homeschooling.
Yeah.
And I think I even had a friend who just this year decided to homeschool outside of COVID.
Right.
But it was something she wanted to do. But she didn't know anyone who actually like purposely
It's crazy.
homeschooled.
Yeah.
So that's tough too, because
Right.
then how do you make those friends?
Or have time.
Yeah, and you need someone to do those discussions with. You can't do everything on those Facebook groups.
No.
You need someone to just say, oh my goodness, I'm having such a hard time. Or, oh, like, come over. It's a homeschool day. We can still get together and meet at a playground or whatever. So
Yeah.
I looked up on psychologytoday.com
Excellent.
and my favorite go-to. I know I always find answers there. And I just said how to make mom friends.
Yes.
And they were saying some ideas are, take a class in something you love.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, so one idea would be even going to a homeschool conference.
Right.
When those open back up again, because there's going to be all these homeschooler people there from your area.
Right.
And you never know who you're going to click with.
Right. Especially because you choose courses that pique your interest.
Mm-hmm.
And so the women that tend to go towards those, you may have natural interests with as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
And piggybacking on that is they say, smile and engage in conversation.
Right.
So
you do have to put yourself out there a little bit.
Yeah. And, they might not be interested in becoming friends with you at first, but maybe you end up seeing the same people or same person at the sessions, or you're attending a cooking class in the same.
Right.
So yeah, be willing to put yourself out there. And, it could even be your gym. You never know.
Absolutely.
Like if you're able to if you go to a gym at a certain time of day, then you probably have a similar schedule as someone else.
Or dance class.
Yeah. So we got dance class. And I remember when I was talking with someone who said, how did your co-op get together?
Right.
And I said, oh, it happens naturally because it's like once you're in sports or dance or something where everyone's about the same age, then you can start talking to them. You're seeing them every week. You can ask them like, oh, where does your kids go to school? And then you'll find out, oh, I homeschool.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting because even if you look at our personal co-op group and people ask like, oh, how did this start? You and I have to actually go back far because we know how we know everybody in the group, but to pinpoint the exact moment that really started the core beginnings is actually very interesting.
And it's gradual as people have cycled in and cycled out, but it just takes time and again putting yourself out there. And then another thing psychologytoday.com said was go on Facebook and look at friends that you were friends with in the past that are in your area that might have still some similar interests as you.
Sure. Reconnect.
Yeah, and reconnect with them because you never know. Like, we're all better people than we were when we were in high school, right?
I hope so.
So, yeah. So, and you might see that some of them are homeschooling.
Sure.
And then at that point you could be like, you're homeschooling? I'm homeschooling too.
Right.
I'd love to get together and then you can make it about something. Like I would love to hear about your curriculum. Right. Let's get coffee. And then you do that. And then you see if there's a connection.
Absolutely.
Then there's a reason, not just like, let's spend our only free time talking with someone from 20 years ago.
Right. For no reason.
Yeah. Let's instead have a purpose to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great.
So those are some things from, and then they also said travel together, but I think you have to already have that friend to travel together and grow that bond.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like the idea too I know we were kind of being silly about like Facebook isn't enough.
Yeah.
But we talked about this in our seminar series about homeschool moms and, how to get started was you really need to like hone in on who your people might be. And that's kind of a safe way to start looking. If you're not even sure the types of people you would naturally connect with, Facebook is kind of safe to start. And then I think you can really like narrow down into a local group who often are starved for meetups.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. Like, who has kids in this age range interested in this? Who can meet up on these days?
Yeah,
and
who wants
boom.
to have a nature group? Who wants to, and in this area, and you can be a bit of a stalker.
Absolutely.
And really like, you can make depending on what kind of person you are, if you want to make a list even, to to make a point of following up and engaging with that person on a regular basis on Facebook first.
Absolutely.
See if they are piqued as well.
Yes.
Okay, so now that we're talking about homeschool moms and ways to make them, now let's dive into the fun that you can have with them.
Yes.
And that's probably going to take up the majority of the rest of the time.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start off with fancy, because you're dressed fancy.
I've got my sparkles on. If you're watching the YouTube, you can see it. If you are not on the YouTube, if you're only listening, I've got my sequins and my fringe cardigan on, and I'm kind of dressed up for how I would go out for a mom's night out.
Yeah, all elegance and glamour, this one.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so let's start off then with Galentine's Day. I think that's our biggest chunk.
I think it's our favorite too.
It is.
Because, it was something you and I were so excited about last year.
Totally. And that's like of all the stuff that we do all year, it's my favorite one.
Right.
Like, no way am I going to miss that.
Right. And we only did it once.
I know.
But it was so fun. And so for those of you who don't know, Galentine's is just a girl's Valentine's. And it came about from the show Parks and Rec. Mm-hmm. And the main character, Leslie Knope, is just super intense. She's a super intense relationship person, friendship person. And so she coined that term Galentine's. I'm pretty sure I looked it up last year, and it literally came from the show.
What was the cute little quote? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember, but
it's on my tote bag.
I'll post it in our podcast page, so thecoopHomeschool.com/podcast.
Let's talk about what we did last year for Valentine's.
Yeah. So you and I kind of brainstormed, and that was when we could go out to a restaurant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like almost one of the last times.
The month before. Yeah. So we picked a night that usually works for our group. And we chose a restaurant, and then we actually scoped the restaurant.
Yeah, it was a cool restaurant.
Yeah, it was really cool and could support a good amount of decor because that's what we asked.
Oh, yeah, when I called, we went there. Oh, yeah, we went there and did our little Christmas moment.
Yes.
Yeah, we went there, and then we said, when we make a reservation we didn't know it could be up to 12 women at that time.
Right.
So we said, where would you seat us? And we had this Galentine's sign that you bought, super cute, that we want to hang, and maybe some heart pendants or something that we want to hang up. And they were super excited for us to do it.
It was really sweet. So they were super supportive, and they gave us an idea of where we would be, and it all was going to work just right. You know,
it was like a craft brewery place, but like a little more posh.
Right.
Yeah.
And they had the way that they had it set up was almost like little cubicles too. So it was, there were other diners near us, but you weren't wide open to the entire place.
Right.
So it's kind of nice in that way. So we made the reservation, we sent out the invitations, and then you and I got to work on making these awesome goodie bags.
I know.
Including the tote you were talking about.
So I'm queen of goodie bags.
Right.
Are you queen of goodie bags too?
Oh, no, but I get ideas sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm all about the goodie bag for like every get together.
Right. And they're spectacular.
Well, not all the time. But I already even have my daughters done are like a month from now.
Yeah.
So anyways, so you picked out these awesome totes that literally were Leslie Knope's quotes about Valentine's Day.
So Oriental Trading is where I got all of these things. They had the Happy Galentine's Day sign. They had the tote bags, and it had 3 different little quotes or sayings.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, I wish I had brought it. Yeah, that's so silly. But
for all our YouTube watchers.
Don't worry, we are writing a blog post. So if you're really interested, that'll be out by the first week of February.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so in the goodie bag, you had these cute brown bags with a little heart doily on it.
Oh, I made those. Yeah. I just got craft bags and then had
the heart doily.
Yeah, the heart doily and glued them on.
Yeah, I mean, inexpensive.
Yeah.
way less expensive than buying like heart gift bags, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
cute.
and you want the money to go in the bag.
Yes.
So there was the tote bag cutely folded up inside. I think you had some candies in there. You made a little bookmark.
Yeah, I made cute little bookmarks like with just ribbon on
a paper clip.
Yeah, on the
that was really cute.
Plastic coated paper
so
clips.
Cute like pink or red paper clip, and then you tied like a little knot with cute Valentine soft ribbon.
Right.
What a great idea for a bookmark.
Well, it came because you made us gratitude journals.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just looked up a bunch of quotes about gratitude and thankfulness, and then on Canva,
Yep.
our graphic design website.
Go-to.
Yeah. Go-to. I just made 100 gratitude. So it's like 4 per page, and then comb bound them all.
Yep.
Printed off a cute little cover, and then you had some cans of wine in there.
Yes, I was out one day and I was like, this is what I'm doing. And then little it was Target Dollar Store. They had these little pods of flowers.
The little plants.
And so they were all just a mixed variety. And so then, because it just looked cute. You know, I mean, and we all have children. So whether you do it with your children or throw it away, it didn't really matter.
I had like a little disc of soil with the seed, and then you just pour water. I don't think ours grew. But it was a dollar Target.
Mine just moved to my new house.
Oh, yeah. So, but I've gotten those before, too. Right. Like, they're just so cute.
Right.
You know?
The box was cute. It was the perfect little thing to put in there with the canned wine and the different things.
And then I made a pin. So I always make a pin for the moms. And
I think, was it the pink
fluffy? Yeah. Pink fluffy. Still my favorite pin I've ever made.
Oh, I love it.
It's really cute.
Yeah. Did we put anything else in there?
I think that was it. Okay, so what was really cool was not only did we have the decoration, and then you had bought like burlap to go down the middle.
I did, a table runner.
Yeah, the table and little candles that were like that rose gold color. Or
the candles were champagne, and then the table runner was rose gold. Yeah.
Okay, and then you had little chocolates, heart chocolates. And then every spot had a tote bag. Yes. So it was really cute. So when someone showed up like 15 minutes early and we're like, you have to sit in the waiting area.
Right.
Not still ready up. Yeah. So, and so when they walked up, they could see like, it just looked fun.
Yes. It just made it special. You know, like this was our way of saying, you're special to us. We care for you. We're investing in you, and we're thankful for you.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing we asked everyone to bring was, let me just preface this by, we didn't do a mom's Christmas party because we did a kids get together Christmas time, whatever it was.
And we try to minimize the chaos around the holidays because, you know, everyone's got their own family thing, which should be the most important.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But we all want to give each other something at some point. You know, a lot of us are giving people.
Right.
So February is a great time. It's kind of a drier month. You know, you might get a gift from your spouse for Valentine's Day, but that's about it, right? Yeah. So this is a way to a great time to give each other a gift.
Absolutely.
So we asked everyone to bring a $15 gift. You know, hopefully one that they would want to receive. You know. Right. Like whether it's a cute mug and a gift card to Starbucks, you know, a drink on me or something, you know, or, you know, a candle or, you know, a cute pencil bag, whatever it is, up to $15.
Yeah.
And then they all wrapped them. And then it was really cute because then we had a way of, when it was their turn, they got to just pick from any of the wrapped gifts. And then that was their gift. Yes. You know, we didn't do trading or anything. No. It was just go ahead and, you know, pick a gift and that's your gift. And they were all really thought out and really fun and all stuff we would want. So,
how did we end up deciding the order? Did we do a funny game?
We did truth or...
Is that how we decided if you... Yeah.
Truth or gift or something. And and you had written... So Jessie had put in like mason jars a question someone had to answer.
Right.
Oh, yeah. How did we get the order, though? But maybe we just started with whoever said they would start.
I couldn't remember. I think I also made conversation hearts.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I'm getting mixed up on. So I had conversation hearts printed on the table as just little conversational things if we were looking for something fun or like a little icebreaker for some reason. So we had the conversation hearts on the table. So I think, yes, it was truth or gift, but I had some... personal questions in there.
They were and they were so fun because they were super personal.
Some were, and some, you know, I also was very clear that nobody was under any pressure to answer the question, but if they wanted to, you know, they could be as cheeky, you know, it doesn't matter.
Well, and there's some new people to the group that year, but sometimes just talking about those intimate details of your relationship with your spouse really bonds a group.
It did. I left there feeling like I really related to these women different than I did before.
Yeah, like, and the vulnerability. You know, like in psychology, we learned that people usually mirror like intimacy and vulnerability.
Sure.
So, but one person has to be willing to be vulnerable first, and then that will get mirrored.
Right.
So, So the questions did exactly that.
Yeah, it was really fun. And if anyone felt uncomfortable, they just passed or didn't answer or just gave whatever information they were comfortable with. There was no pressure because it wasn't truth or dare.
Yeah.
You know, the consequence wasn't severe for not saying anything. But it was just fun. And like you said, I think the more we started to ask questions, the more...
and then everybody wanted to go around and give their answer. It wasn't even just the one person wanting to answer the question.
Right.
Did you find the questions somewhere? Like, did you find online or how did you...
Oh, I tried, but they were too much for our group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They were just, So I feel like I ended up making most of them up myself.
Okay.
I have them all listed, so it'll go into my Galentine's Day
like you probably had a
too.
question that was like thong or granny panty.
Right.
Yeah, you know, like, and then, you know.
I did shaved or waxed, I know that for sure. And I know there was at least a couple like, whoo! Yeah, you know, I'm like, don't answer. I don't care. You know? But it's just fun. It was meant to be fun and different. You know, this was a different kind of night, not to talk about our kids.
Yeah.
And then we also, I don't know if you were going to go here, but
I was, but you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure that the conversation was always positive about our spouses. So we asked all the moms to bring a wedding photo. And so that ended up being its own unique thing because we went around the table and passed our photos around.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, for me, my photos are not digital.
Right.
So I actually, like, had to find a photo and bring it and put it in a Ziploc, you know. I was like, I can do that or I can bring, like, the whole wedding album.
Right, which somebody did.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember who it was.
That wasn't
but it was
then?
like, no, it was like in the booth next to them. Yeah.
Somebody brought the whole album because that was just the easiest thing to do.
But the newer marrieds had it on their phone. I was like blown away. You have wedding photos on your phone? You know? Yeah. So that was really fun. Like seeing the dress that they picked, seeing what they look like, you know, before kids, you know?
Before kids.
Yeah, what their husband looked like before kids.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, because we've all gotten to know or at least meet each other's spouses.
Yeah. So just to see what we all look like when we were babies, you know, that was really fun too. And the night went really long. Oh, and we did make a requirement that no kids could be brought, only if they're nursing like a 1 and under, you know, because we struggled with that a bit because we didn't want anyone to miss out.
Right.
But at the same time, we wanted a place where someone could go and not hear anybody's kid crying.
Right.
You know, and not have any kid interrupting conversation.
Because we have this conversation because we both really love our mom friends who have little ones, right? Because it was us.
Right.
And it would be really hard to not be there with the little ones. But at the same time, you can't turn off your mama brain when your friend's baby is there. It's not some stranger's baby that I can tune out.
Right.
It's my friend's baby who I care about.
Right.
So now I'm going to talk to this baby. Now I'm going to actually offer to hold this baby, which isn't a problem, but that's what we do every other time.
Yeah, we wanted something special, separate, and set apart, and like a vacation feel.
Exactly.
And when anybody's kid is there, it just doesn't feel that way, and unless, like, you know, we had one with a newborn, and you would, or not a newborn, but an infant, you would not have even known that he was there. No. You know? Yeah. So it was totally fine. You
Absolutely,
know? Yeah. So, but we did have to have 1 or 2 moms stay home because they couldn't bring their kid. And we said, well, we'll see you next year.
Right.
And they got it. You know, they totally understood.
Right.
So sometimes you just have to make that boundary when you are planning a mom's night of some sort that...
For certain times.
Yeah, you just can't do that. Right. So, all right. So this year... she and I had planned it, and so then we said, okay, this coming year we need a different committee to plan it, and so that was really fun to see who was excited to plan it, and now it'll be at someone's house because it's COVID,
right?
And there was a really fun idea. Do you want to mention the idea of what we're supposed to bring this time?
So the idea this year is rather than gift exchange, it's bring your favorites. So it's kind of that idea of the comfort items because it's been a weird year.
Yeah.
Since our last Galentine's Day. And so the idea is just bring your favorite, whatever you feel
my
sharing.
vegan raw cookie dough.
Right.
As long as and they said try and keep it like $6 and under because we might, if everyone gets one, you don't want to spend $60. Right. So if that's the case, then I might, depending on how many people come, I might just bring a $2 item then.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But if there's only like 6 women that come, I could definitely get a $6 item.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And but my kids and husband were all like, "You're gonna bring your cookie dough," and I'm like, "I know, it's my favorite."
Right.
It's so good. It's at Costco.
Awesome.
It was on Shark Tank. It's amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so what I really love is that our group of friends felt excited to take this on.
Yeah.
And not like it was stepping on our toes or that we needed it to be a certain way. I love that they're having their own ideas. You know,
totally.
It doesn't matter what we did last year.
Totally.
This is something new, and they're gifting it to us.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like, that's why we want other people. We've talked about this before. Like, I just want to be able to show up sometime. I'm a big planner, but like I've said, it's because like I want a certain quality of life, and I happen to initiate earlier than other people.
Right.
So things get planned that way. But if I know other people are handling it, I'm like, awesome. Hands off. I get to just show up.
Right. Show up and be happy.
Yeah. Like when you did the Christmas homeschool day for us.
Yes.
I get to just show up to that. Thank you. Like that's all I want.
Yeah. It's really nice sometimes. And so, So I'm very much looking forward to this year's Galentine's Day and just to watch how it kind of continues to evolve and all the different ways we can imagine it. But I can say this year, we're going to have a waffle bar.
Oh yeah. I thought
it's
I saw
really
that.
funny because our favorite character, Leslie Knope on Parks and Rec, was obsessed with waffles.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's so funny.
Obsessed with waffles with whipped cream.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
so
funny.
I will be making the whipped cream.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Providing the whipped cream.
Cool.
Yeah. It's actually going to be at my house.
Oh yeah. I know. I don't want to volunteer that.
So as much as I was trying not to be on the planning committee, I volunteered my new house because it's just perfect for hosting, and it's really easy for me to have my kids go spend the night at grandma's.
Oh, totally.
And have the whole house to
And you
ourselves.
don't have to drive very far to have your kids spend the night.
No, and I'm central to all of the moms, and so it's just really easy.
Yeah.
And yes, grandma lives like 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
So I can even pick them up and still homeschool the next day.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yes.
So we wanted to spend a lot of time on Galentine's Day because it's such a special event for us, and it only comes around once a year.
Right. And, your special time for your friends may not be Galentine's Day.
It could be St. Could be St. Patrick's Day, and you always do like almost like a Mardi Gras feel.
But this is our one big all-out special event, at least for now.
Yeah.
And so that's really nice is to look forward to that.
It is. So other fancy things you can do are birthday celebrations, right? So I know a couple of years ago I was trying to do where every month we'd go out and celebrate whoever's birthdays were that month, and then we'd all just put in like $2 or $3 each. And there was enough of us where we were paying for that person's meal or drink or whatever.
Right, because we usually went out kind of late, after bedtimes or dance class.
Yeah, we would meet at like 8.
Yeah, so most people did an appetizer or a dessert and a beverage.
Yeah,
so it wasn't like
it wasn't really expensive, and it was always at the same place.
Right,
so it was at a wine bar, so everyone knew they wanted the truffle fries or whatever they were.
Yes.
So since that place has since then closed, which was a major bummer, and that actually did away with our birthday club, basically.
It did, and I think it was also the natural evolution of going from that group that was really based on our dance mom group, and into let's start this homeschool co-op.
That's true.
You and I really kind of transitioned that. So it was a few different things because I had my baby and I wasn't teaching that class anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
So that kind of started to devolve a little bit.
That's true. Yeah.
So it just shifted into what it was, and then,
And then, kind of like a once a month birthday night, we were trying to do a mom's night out. So when the birthday thing was no longer happening, we were doing a mom's night out every 2 months.
Yes.
And that's doable. Like every month might be actually kind of hard because you have other friends in your life and other events and busyness. But if it's just once every 2 months, you may make a point to be there.
Right. And some moms have husbands who work late or far away. And so and we always wanted to keep it weeknight versus weekend because of the whole family, being important to us situation. We wanted to kind of do that aspect as well. And so every other month just made it easier for those moms not to feel stressed out or to make it a point of contention just to go to the mom's night. That's not what it's meant to be.
And it was always the same night. It was always like we figured out in our group that Wednesday night, for example, that year was a good night. And it was a good night for me because I knew I dropped my kids off at youth group and then my husband could just pick them up, and I could work my way over to, you know, the mom's night. And so just knowing that there's a night that most moms can make it, then it's not hard to schedule. You're not asking everybody. You can just literally say like the third Wednesday every other month we're going to go, or Thursday or Tuesday or whatever it is.
Right. And the nice thing about not over planning and over scheduling the mom's nights is when something spontaneous comes up, it doesn't feel like it's asking too much to ask the group to come to something.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So that's the fancy stuff.
Yes.
Any other fancy things you can think of?
I mean, just the general ideas, but, you know, we gave our big special ones.
I know. Okay. So let's go to casual, because I'm dressed casual. I'm casual mom, and I usually am casual mom. I'm usually the
Normally
most casual.
I am too, but...
I mean, what I wear during the day, let's be honest, I wear it about at night, so...
Can't get more casual than that.
Yeah. So these are some casual things that I've done with like either one-on-one with moms.
Sure.
So I've done like a movie night where the mom came over.
Yeah.
And like I came over and watched Hamilton with you.
Yes.
So those little moments too build the friendships. Like I didn't have Disney Plus that night at least.
Right.
And you said, oh, you should really see Hamilton. So after the kids went to bed, then I went over there.
It was spontaneous. I was like, how about tonight?
I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I got over there like at 8, and then I was there till midnight because we watched the whole thing.
We were only going to watch Act 1.
I know. But of course, I'm so talkative. It's almost like I didn't, like people probably hate watching things with me.
I liked it. I'd already seen it.
So it was our fun, and I think I just wore pajamas, and it was just fun and comfortable. We probably had a glass of wine, and that was it. So you can have like some kind of casual pajama night, movie night type of thing. Yeah. And even if you brought the kids to that too, when kids are watching a movie and they're the right ages, it totally works out. So I had one with another person from our co-op, and it was for Halloween, and we're like, we're going to continue this from now on, because like she brought the popcorn, I had the hot chocolate.
Right. It's awesome.
The kids laid down, watched the movie, and then we could watch the movie or chat or do whatever we wanted. Right. You know, and so and it's low key, no effort. Yeah. So anyway, so that's one idea. Another one is so friendship really grows when you learn together. Mm-hmm. So I went to a session about this at a homeschool conference, and they said when moms learn together, you know, moms who learn together stay together, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. So they recommended like a monthly article, or and then for those who want to be part of a book club, that's like an adult book club. And that's always something that we could see in our horizon as people's kids get older and don't need as much of our time. Like in a couple of years, we could all probably be part of a homeschool moms book club where we get together even every other month. Right. You know, or we have one book for the year and we just do a chapter a month. Yeah. And that would be a fun casual time, but also gives you something to talk about other than your children, even though it's kind of related, you know.
Can I piggyback off the learning aspect?
I think you should.
Okay. So last year, I think we held on to Galentine's Day as being spectacular because we also had several other things on the docket for the rest of spring that were canceled.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think for us, that was the biggest thing that happened last year because everything was so loaded in the spring. We had a family camping thing planned.
Oh, yeah. We had a retreat. Well, we're going to talk about that later.
Well, you're going to bring it up later. Okay. Yeah. I was segueing to that with the learning idea, but I'll let you handle that later.
Oh, we were going to learn at that? What were we going to learn?
We were all supposed to bring our...
Oh, yeah. I have that on a whole separate category.
That's good because it's not really a casual hangout.
Okay, all right.
I was just trying to get the learning aspect in.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, so the book club or learning together in some way, like I've mentioned earlier, like taking a cooking class together, just some fun thing to do together. I feel like,
did we talk about a mom book club with our co-op and decide maybe it didn't have enough interest?
I'd have to look at the minutes.
I think that we were going to talk about it at said retreat.
Oh, yeah. We were. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it fizzled, apparently.
So we can put that on the docket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Note to self.
And then like a Saturday brunch. So you and I have gotten together 1 or 2 times for like a Saturday brunch. And what's really fun about that's really low key and easy. Mm-hmm. The dads are just hanging out with the kids anyways, first thing in the morning. And you just go have eggs and bacon with 1 or 2 or more of your friends. You know, when you're in a co-op or you have a group, you don't all have to always stay a group. You can develop the individual relationships, which is actually what we try to encourage.
And you should. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, since you and I were the ones who basically formed this group, it's our goal and desire and hope that the moms get together outside of us, right? And that like when I hear, oh, we had a play date with so-and-so, it makes my heart
That's great.
jump. Yeah. Like I'm so happy for that because now that bonding is happening. The kids are bonding. If
we know the group will carry on, like at the very beginnings of it, if you or I couldn't show up to something last minute, yeah, the group fizzled. Yeah. And so that's not what we wanted. That's great that people loved us enough to show up for us, but that's not the point of the group. I want people to have the group and the group be important.
Exactly.
Yeah, the commitment to the group and the kids' relationships be important.
Exactly. Yeah. So, anyway, like a Saturday type of brunch or, is a nice casual thing. And then other activities together, like whether it's pickleball or meeting at the gym or, we did the ballet class. So that was before we really had our co-op defined and stuff. But I can see that happening in the future, being like maybe even next year saying, who wants to take an adult meet me at the bar class, right?
We even checked out, we were looking into the idea of like a maker's market class, because we checked out that shop in our downtown area. And, it's hard to always find something that's a learning opportunity that fits the budget of the group because, even just going out to dinner, so that can be the challenge, is to find a good learning experience that doesn't cost too much or is worth the value is good.
Because I found a free one at our children's museum that's down in San Diego. Right. So I sent a message out, last minute, who wants to go to this? It's free. It's for teachers, but we're all teachers.
Absolutely.
So, and it was basically teaching you how to do a weaving loom on fabric.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So, and there were some people interested, but it was such a long drive. Their husbands had to get home in time for them to be able to leave. And so sometimes, even if it's free, it's the time and the distance,
Absolutely.
And I still went. It was pretty cool. Like, I'd love to. And then they asked me how I was going to use it in my classroom. I was like, oh, well, I'll do it with my co-op. I just saw this as a craft class for me and something I could learn to do. But that's what is free for teachers. So those are just some ideas to do casually together and to build those friendships. And again, it could be you just do one or two of these every 3 or 4 months, but it makes an impact over time.
Absolutely.
This is all looking, and I think we talked to, maybe it was we had a Zoom call with all the women and when we were planning this year. And I think I brought up like, we're not just investing in like friendships right now. We're thinking of 20 years from now. Yeah. We want our friends to be people that we did life with.
Right.
Not just like, oh, now I don't have kids. They're all grown. Now let's go make friends. It's like, but wouldn't I rather have my friends be people that I raised my kids with and fought through homeschooling together and figured out life together.
Right. People who still want to hear about how your kids are doing, because you're never not a parent.
Right.
And so it's still important to have friends who want to hear about your kids and not just, like, oh, you have kids? Oh, cool. Your adult kids that I don't care about,
And it takes time to mold to each other. So our group is all different creeds, religions, ages.
Right. Political affiliations.
Yeah right. And so... but we have a major thing in common, which is homeschooling.
Right.
And then over time, as you spend time together, like our ideas and opinions will mold to each other. They won't always be the same and end up on the same page, but we all affect each other, and we're choosing to let these people affect us. And hopefully they're letting us affect them.
Right. And then thinking of the long term, I think it's important that we still know that there's a lot of evolution that's going to happen within this group. Like looking at it very short-sighted is kind of a detriment to the group, which is why we still open it up at least once a year to new invitations, because this group is just going to continue to evolve.
Right.
Because we do have different backgrounds or interests change, or people want to get more involved, say, with a church group than with,
or a nature group or
Right. So people may leave the co-op and new people may join who are almost better suited. And that's just the nature of relationships and friendships. But the idea still exists that mom friends are important. They don't have to all be exclusively from our current co-op enrollment.
Right.
But the fact that you're just having people who are near to you outside of your kids is like great.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. So we did fancy, we did casual.
Yes.
Let's talk. Oh, and then here's another little side thing that we haven't done yet, but is on my list for the horizon someday.
Yes.
So Gal Pal.
Oh, right.
So it's like a Secret Santa, which is also another
Right.
good idea.
Right.
But it's like a Secret Santa, but it could be like a monthly thing, and it
Yeah.
could be like if you sign up to be part of it, you're agreeing to maybe 2 little gifts during the year at some
Right.
point,
Right.
and encouragement notes for the other months
Right.
that you
That's
mail
super
them.
cool.
You know, and then. And it could be you could decide if you want it to be anonymous, or it could be
Right.
that you decide that you're going to know that,
Right.
and then the gifts would be like a drop off,
Right.
like a surprise drop off, ding dong ditch,
Exactly.
type of thing. So I thought the Gal Pal would be a really.
I like Gal Pal. Yeah, we did Secret Sister in high school.
Oh, that's
and
cute too.
I
Yeah.
think we kept it a secret the whole school year, and then had a big reveal party. At
Yeah,
the
and
end.
then a reveal
Yeah.
party. That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Yeah, I like that idea for next year too. We could even make
We could have-
Valentine's Day our reveal. Mm-hmm.
And it would be really cute because we could have people guess who it is and write it on a slip
Ooh,
of paper.
yeah, that'd be funny.
And then when everyone around you, they could say who they
Right.
guessed it was.
Right.
So that's that, and it could even be just even. Okay, so the last the last thing I want to mention is the retreat
Yes.
overnight,
Yes.
and whether it's a camping, like a
Right.
family camping,
Yeah.
or that wouldn't be a retreat though.
No.
So
That's work.
yeah.
Just kidding.
And we've tried family
Right.
camping, and we've talked about that. It got canceled because of COVID, but now we have it all figured out. for our
Now
next
we're
time.
ready. So now we've
Yeah.
had 2 camping opportunities that didn't happen because of COVID.
Oh, we did?
Well, we didn't have the spring one last year
yeah,
on
yeah.
the schedule. That's
Oh.
what we were planning at the
Oh,
retreat.
yeah.
But we were planning one for May or June.
Yeah. Okay. So then now let's talk about the retreat.
Yes.
So we were thinking it'd be fun to do an annual retreat, one night overnight somewhere, or 2, depending on cost.
Right.
And so last year's was going to be in April, and it was going to be at Palomar Mountain
Right.
at a
2
cabin.
nights.
2
Yeah.
nights. And we could do 2 nights because someone was loaning us their cabin at a cheaper
Right.
rate.
It was a great deal. It was close nearby for anyone who didn't want to come up for the day, who didn't want to stay overnight, but wanted to come for the daytime events. It
Yeah.
was accessible.
Yeah, and we also had a note. Oh, and we talked about it at Galentine's Day.
Yes, we did.
So I made a little flyer.
Yes.
And we passed it out and we talked about it. We had a lot on our agenda for Galentine's Day, didn't we?
I guess
oh my
we
goodness.
did.
It was almost like a business meeting.
But it was really fun,
It
so
was,
I guess
yeah.
it wasn't too intense.
Yeah, so we just briefly mentioned it, but we did tell them the no kid rule. We said those who can't be away from their child, they can come for the
Right.
day. And we still don't want you to bring your child.
Yeah.
So because it's a retreat, it's not anywhere where we want to be worried that a child's going to grab my purse or grab the wine glass or
Right.
whatever. We didn't want anyone to have to worry about anything like that. And we had things planned.
Right.
So we had discussed bringing like a curriculum or like, what was that?
I think our favorite item.
Oh, our favorite. Yeah.
So it's kind
like
of
the
cute.
magic. Yeah.
So we were talking about bringing either your favorite book that you read about homeschooling, your favorite curriculum item. I think there was still a lot of that was actually to be discussed.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't think we had necessarily narrowed down exactly what we were bringing. We had some ideas. We had the idea to do a craft, which we also never finalized.
Oh yeah.
We talked about doing
like a
like the
needle
large
or
hand knitting thing.
Oh yeah.
What else did we talk about?
Or it was like
the jewelry.
We were gonna do like the pins and the board and the.
Oh yeah. So we kind of had a few ideas, and I can't remember now because I had to like really just put it out of my head because it was really sad.
Oh well, we had people in charge of food.
Yeah,
And you
me
and
our other friend. Yeah.
And then we had bring your own alcohol to share.
Yes.
And then those
like
who
a fancy drink.
Yeah,
or,
and those who didn't drink
favorite.
alcohol, they could bring like kombucha or
Right.
whatever. Their favorite Martinelli's.
Yes.
Whatever.
It's all good.
Yeah. So, and that would be to share with the, and then I was making the tote bags.
Right.
So I bought the tote
you had all
bags.
the stuff.
I had bought the poopery.
Right. Look it up if you're not sure.
Yeah. I had bought face masks. I had bought little journals. So what?
And by face mask, she means sleep mask.
Oh yeah.
This was pre-COVID during the
Oh
planning.
yeah, because I do goodie bags so early on. I bought it all before before even COVID.
Probably at Galentine's.
Yeah.
We already had it all.
Yeah. So then I just saved it, and they all got it, I think, at our kickoff the beginning of this year.
Some of the items.
I saved the poopery because I know that's an overnight thing I need to
yes.
give out.
Sharing bathrooms.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. But so they were gonna get goodie bags, and then we were gonna say, do what you want, but then here's some things we have planned. If you want to show up for it, feel free.
Right. You and I discussed a lot about how we wanted to set it up, because of course you want maximum participation, but you also know that the opportunity to get away can be very rare for a lot of moms, and maybe they don't really just want to hike.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to sleep in that morning and hiking is not their thing.
Right.
And that's okay. You know, they can do that and enjoy something else with us instead.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to have enough on the schedule that the antsier or busier people felt like they were really getting the most out of being away. Because that's what fills some people's cups. So we're trying to find a good balance of offering enough, having it be kind of diverse in the offering, and then making sure that there was enough sort of intentional downtime together, whether it was watching a movie. I think that was what we were going to do with the craft.
Yeah,
right?
and I wanted to run over to Harrah's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was the idea to run down to the local casino, too.
Yeah, I wanted to go do a night there.
Right.
And then another idea we've had, too, is like alternating, like doing a relaxing, peaceful one, and then like the following year doing one night away, like in downtown San Diego in a posh hotel, like
do it more
go
city.
dancing or whatever, stay in a really nice, like share a big suite together and have the pool to lounge at the next day or whatever. So and you can decide whatever you do in that time and just have it be a free for all, or have some, like at a cabin, you definitely need some scheduled things, right?
Right.
And the cabin we were going to be at was only going to be 45 minutes away.
Yeah, easy.
Easy to just even come for one night. And we had a fee set up for what one night looked like and what 2 nights looked like. Or no, a daytime, a day, whatever. So, and then that would cover the cost of food and craft or whatever.
Right.
So those are all, that's kind of the other way. And that really bonds you when you stay overnight with somebody.
Yes.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you see them in their pajamas, you see them without makeup.
Right.
They're more willing to be open.
It's that vulnerability you mentioned earlier. You know, it's just a different form of that vulnerability. And it just helps that refining process. You get to know what you are and are not comfortable with certain people.
Right.
If you don't feel like you can be vulnerable, then maybe they're not your people.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. That's the ongoing, work we all are doing.
Right.
But yeah.
And sometimes some people are just really fun to be with.
Yes.
And you don't need the vulnerability, and that's fine too.
Right.
Like there might be within a group the couple fun people that you just have fun with, and there might be the couple fun people that you would confide in.
Right.
But that's what's nice about a diverse group, because you can do different things with different people.
Right. You can go do the big fun thing with all the people and really have a great time, and then be totally fine not to do the longer, more intimate adventure. And that's okay.
Right. So the last thing I want to address is the follow-up. So we did, what do we mean by mom friends? Why do we need them? The changes in friendship over time, the fun things we can do with them. But now here's the thing. You've got to show up.
Yeah.
Like not just show up physically, but when you show up, you want to show up with positivity. You want to be someone wants to be around. And I even tell my 6-year-old that on a regular basis. Like when you kept pulling on her hair, she now doesn't want you to play with her.
Right.
Be someone people want to be around.
Right.
And then you won't wonder why you don't have friends.
Right.
Right. So it's not that we can't, when we're vulnerable, of course, we're going to have negative things to say. We're going to have hard things to say.
Right.
It'd be great if we can cry on each other's shoulder.
Right.
But there's times and places for that. Right. So in a large group, when you enter, you want to be someone that they're like, yes, so-and-so just got here.
Right.
But one-on-one, that's when the intimacy and vulnerability can happen. While you're cooking with someone, making the food at the retreat for everybody else, you could be talking about a spousal problem you're having, or a crazy time you're having with one of your special needs kids or whatever.
I think it's a balance.
Right.
So there are definitely moments where that's a completely acceptable thing to just be like, I have this thing and I need to just share it, but to be the only person doing that in a relationship in any scenario is just too much.
Right.
And so it's important to be able to understand the balance of relationships and consider that even in friendships, especially with new ones. Forming new friendships, it's extremely important to at least be thoughtful. We're not expecting people pleasers. I don't want you to go out of your way to be somebody you think I want you to be.
Right, because we'll see through that. We're adults. Like, we can see right through. We're not high school girls.
No, I want you to be you, but I want you to also express to me why this relationship is something we both want to pursue.
Right.
You can't be the only person to benefit from our relationship. It has to be mutually beneficial.
Yeah. No, I love that. And, asking questions about someone's life, that's another way you show up.
Right.
Showing up like you're just like mutually beneficial, like showing up and being interested in someone else's life besides sharing your own. I have a hard time with that because I am so expressive. I over communicate. I talk a lot about myself. Right. So I have a conscious effort before a conversation ends. I need to learn something about the person I'm with. I want to make sure I've thought of them and I want to know them better.
Right.
How can I know you better if I don't ask you a single question?
Right. Well, you come off as very genuinely interested. So if
I am
for you, you don't. It doesn't come off that way.
Yeah.
No, but you definitely have this intense so where did you come from? How did you come to homeschooling? Because that's specifically our niche. Or, what led you to this thing? And everything is exciting to you because I think partly, if I'm going to dissect you.
Yeah, please dissect. Yeah.
I think that's your FOMO a tiny bit. You
totally.
love hearing other people's stories because you're like, okay, what else can I do?
Yeah.
But what it does is it genuinely opens up the opportunity to know somebody better. And to explore other interests or common, because if you didn't ask those questions, you wouldn't have found out that so-and-so went to UCLA or had a brother, whatever it is. You wouldn't have known all of these commonalities if you didn't ask.
Yeah. And how interesting are people?
Very.
Yeah. And just like, I'm reading this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right.
I know it's an old book now.
Yeah.
And you were just saying how you went to a training or a class, took a course on it and everything.
Yeah. A long time ago.
15 years ago. I'm like, have you read the book? Yeah. But it is so right on, and part of that is just saying be interested in other people. Don't be self-centered.
Right.
And it's just such a good reminder because it's such a natural tendency. So in friendship, we talked a little bit about it in our giving podcast.
Yes.
The last element of giving, you brought it up of giving of ourselves in friendship.
Yeah.
And that's just part of maintaining mom friends and making them, especially in first impressions.
Absolutely.
It's sad to say first impressions still matter as adults.
We just don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, we're going
to have to make those fast snap judgments, and they're not negative judgments. They're just the normal psychological judgments that we all have to do, that we do naturally.
Yeah.
And if you're not finding a reason to put time into somebody, you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah, you're going to move on. Yeah. The mutually beneficial is what you need to find in that first meeting.
Yeah.
Or in a casual first and second meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's all I had for our mom friends. I'm sure we could do a whole nother podcast about it.
Yeah.
But
maybe Act 2 will come later.
Yeah. So let's do our scoop on the coop. Our joys.
The other one.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. I'll go on this one. So,
okay.
Off and on during the year, my husband and I always try to look for a show that we might want to watch together, or, do something in our small bits of time together without the children awake in the house. And, we've enjoyed several shows. And I watched Love on the Spectrum, and that's another show you came over and watched it with me, and then watched it again. Did you watch it?
But I was planning to, and then forgot about it actually. It's so precious.
Right. Well, Netflix was advertising it to me again, and so I said, you know what, Jake? I think you should watch this with me because it's fascinating.
Yeah.
And just the idea of being able to talk through all of these things and talk about just how these parents went through recognizing signs in their children, and some of these now adults weren't diagnosed until adulthood.
Yeah, I think they knew something was different about them,
right?
But they didn't have the maybe they weren't in a setting that they were diagnosing yet.
Right. Or their own manifestation,
didn't come out until later. Yeah.
It's just wild. And so it was just a fascinating show, and realization to always be thoughtful of other people and what they might be going through, and the difference in neurological abilities.
Yeah.
Because we're all different.
Yeah, there was that meme or thing, meme that came up that was like, you never know what battles someone is fighting,
right.
Or something or what right. wars they're in, or whatever, what pain they're suffering. And it's totally true, know. Actually, 7 Habits talked about that too.
Absolutely.
And it changes your lens. So watching shows like that, like Love on the Spectrum, seeing how awkward and the difficulties that people who have a different brain,
right,
what they have to go through to make connection, and how they have to be so methodical and calculated right. About making that connection. Right. But if you just met them on the street, you'd be like, what's their deal?
Right.
And how sad for them. You don't even, they come across looking completely like right. they have all the skills that someone right. not on the spectrum would have. Right. But you would never know that that's why they might be saying what they're saying, or doing right. what they're doing, or the nervous laugh. And it's all treasured and appreciated on Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's precious. Like the love, I know this is your joy,
but that's how much joy there is.
But the love relationship between the parents, I think anyone with a special ed kid could really benefit from watching that show.
Yeah, it's just really sweet. I mean, I almost every parent who was willing to talk on the show teared up talking about their kids and how proud they are of how far their kids had to come, because it was such a harder journey. And all of these parents had multiple children. Right. And only the one, or I don't know, not all of their children were on the spectrum. And so they knew the difference between a neurotypical child and someone on the spectrum. And it was just so interesting, because all the parents had to work so hard, and they were so proud of their child, because they also knew that the child had done the work.
Yeah, they were working so hard because they knew a relationship would be a positive thing in their own life. Right. And they were taking a class on it. It was just really well done, and just gave you a new appreciation.
Right. There's just a lot of joy in being able to share that with my husband.
Yeah. So what did he say about it?
Oh, he loved it too. Yeah. Fascinated. It's just fascinating because we sit in our own little bubble, and we're not always aware of what other people's struggles are. Yeah. And that's something that I take for granted, that it was just easy for me to have relationships.
Oh yeah, totally.
And one of the specialists on the show even said, we still all have a script in our head. Mm-hmm. We just go through it naturally. It's not something we still have to train ourselves to do and to go through. The script has become a part of us. Yeah. And it's a different way of processing. And so, for me
we can access it easier too. Right. It's not like cards we memorized, Right.
Because they'll have their note cards
sometime. Yeah.
Yeah. So that part of it is really fascinating. And my husband and I really liked talking through that, because, I've made comments about my daughter being slightly lower on the empathy scale. So certain questions and checking in doesn't always occur to her, and so when a friend gets hurt, I've been trying to teach her, it's okay to go over there and say, I'm sorry this happened. Are you okay? But it's not something that came natural to her. Right. And so it's a really great learning lesson for people who don't have children on the spectrum, but just have to talk about different things, because everybody's brain is different.
Right, that's true. And we all have different, it's just, that's an obvious skill set when someone's lacking it. Right. That it's so much more obvious than someone who might, even someone who's dyslexic, you would not even know. You could go your whole life with someone and not even know it. Right. They just at a restaurant might, or even if they could say at a restaurant, what are you having? I think I'm going to get that too. And you wouldn't even know they had a problem reading the menu. No. But certain social skills, it's obvious and it's painful, the rejection and all that they have to go through.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm glad you remind. By the way, as a side note, we've been watching the show The Rain. It's a Dutch The Rain. No, R-A-I-N. Oh. It's a post-apocalyptic show.
Of course.
Okay. And it's a Dutch. So you just put you can have it dubbed or do the subtitles.
Okay.
But you can have it dubbed. But I like the subtitles because then you actually see the acting for real. It is so good.
That's awesome.
I was up till like 3 one morning watching it. Yeah. Okay, but that was just me piggybacking. So my joy is we played Taboo as a family.
Oh, yeah.
So I always loved Taboo. In college, I was like a Taboo fiend and like really good at it. And Marcus, the spouse, and I were really good at it because we could reference a memory with 1 or 2 words. You know, kind of like Fishbowl would be, you know. And so we could get like 7 or 8, sometimes even 9 in like the little timer.
Right.
So we tried it with the kids one time a while ago and realized, oh, these words don't work for them.
Sure.
So then I got rid of it. But now there's a family one. So there's a category for kids. So there's a whole pile of cards just for kids. And it's 1 word that's very simple that they can read. And then 2 words that they can't say that are part of that.
Right.
Okay. And then the adults have one that it's like the 1 word that's more complicated, like engineer or, you know, omnibus.
Right.
You know. Right. And then the 5 or 6 words you can't say. So then it's a little more equitable.
Sure.
We still win. We've still won 2 times now, like by a landslide. But that's because they're still learning to communicate and you know, one is just telling a story about the whole thing, where the other one's getting frustrated, and the other night he had tears.
Aww.
Because he was just like, no, just say what it is, you know.
It's hard playing those kinds of games with kids, like the board games. Like, it's very clear why those are usually the more suggested games. Because these kinds are very, very difficult.
Because they have to pull it out of their head. You know?
And it's hard because they don't know that it's... They know it's just a game. Yeah. But like when you play with an adult that's just not playing well, you just move on with life. Like, oh well, we're not going to get this.
No, I get frustrated. I tell the adult, I'm not playing this with you again because you're terrible. Like, we were playing a group game and I even said, let's vote them out first because they're boring. Like, why are we playing if you're not even talking? Like, you're the murderer. We'll vote you out, you know.
You're so funny.
But anyways, what brought me joy was, despite the tears and everything, is they had a blast.
That's good.
And they are learning a new skill.
That's really cool.
So they were super excited. Like, my son was so excited to be able to buzz my husband. My daughter was so excited to buzz me. And then my 6-year-old, who can't read yet, could still participate because she was just a guesser. And whenever she would guess one, we'd be like, oh, she did! You know, it was such a big deal. Yeah. So it was just a really great family moment. And they didn't want to stop playing. That's awesome. So it was really sweet. So then that's why we played then the next night. We played last night and the night before, 2 nights ago and then the night before that. So
super awesome.
Yeah. So it was fun. So that's it. So thank goodness for mom friends. I'm so glad I have you.